Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing a book haul video, which is actually the first time I've ever done one, but in the November then December time frame I got a lot of books, including some that I'm very excited for, so I thought this would be a good time to do it. I might try to start doing these because I guess it depends on the month, but I usually buy at least a few books whenever I go to my used bookstore, and sometimes getting new ones. And with some still books that I'm looking to get, I might have a fair amount in the next couple of months, so I'll just kind of see, depends on how much I get. But that'll be a good way to talk about random books that I bought that I might not actually get to read review, kind of let you know what's in there in case I randomly pick one up. So I have stacked my books here, facing the back direction so you can't see them, and we're going to do a nice reveal that way and take a look. Now, the first ones I'll mention are some that I actually did mention in my Best of 2020, looking forward to 2021. So you might have already seen, but Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest, the books 2 and 3 of the Farseer trilogy, are two books that I did get as a gift that I am very excited to read because I quite liked Assassin's Apprentice. That was a book I had been wanting to read for quite some time, and I was trying to get a copy at my used bookstore, and they finally happened to have one, so I was very excited. And there goes Assassin's Quest. We're going to lay them down, apparently, because they don't want to sit correctly on the bookshelf. But so those two, very excited for. And then the other ones that I think you may have already heard me mention are my Kate Elliott books, because I'm loving Crown of Stars. So I have... Are they in the right order this time? They are in the right order this time. Spirit Gate, Book 1 of the Crossroads Trilogy. Shadowgate, Book 2. And Traitor's Gate, Book 3, which I'm most certainly planning on getting to at some point. I don't know specifically, there's always a lot. And then Cold Magic, just another Kate Elliott book. I don't know a ton about these. I legitimately just bought them because Kate Elliott, and I'm really enjoying her writing style for other things that I am reading. So, getting to the first big one that I'm extremely excited about, just because I want you to see some things that you haven't already. This nice big stack here, which I am very excited for, and that is the Faithful and Fallen series, starting with Malice. So I have heard people who love this and people who don't, but this was something that I was lucky enough to get as a gift for Christmas this year. So I do have the whole series, Malice, Valor, I think I messed up the order, Ruin, and Wrath. And I really like the way that these ones look in general. I do think it's really cool. I did get it right. The only thing is I noticed that the first two are Tor and then the last two are Pan. So I don't know what happened, but at least they didn't really change the background as much, because those look really nice on the shelf. So even if I don't love them, and I'm hoping I do, they'll probably stay just because they look super nice. So switching gears really quick, a couple of smaller things. I always check, we have I don't know how regional it is, but there's a store called Dollar Tree where it's just kind of like, a dollar store, a 99-cent store. I know some other regions have. I always check because they'll get overstock books sometimes, and I've gotten some things that I actually ended up liking there, some things not. But first I have Mashup, which is a short story collection where it's stories inspired by famous lines. And this has Tad Williams and Mary Robinette Kowal, who I recognized. I don't really know a lot of the rest, but I thought it'd be interesting to do a short story book at some point, just to kind of look. I might, if I read through and find some really interesting, do a shorter video here or there on them, but I thought that'd be interesting. But for a buck, why not? The other one is The Fall of Shannara, the Black Elfstone, which comes very late in Shannara, and I haven't read that much, so this is a book that, if I get to, will be very down the line, as I haven't read most of Shannara. I did Heritage of Shannara, and I have Sword of Shannara, but I haven't actually read it yet. But once again, it was $1, and it's Terry Brooks, so I'm like, alright, why not? Jumping into another really big series, I mentioned in a previous video that I have had The Stone Sky for quite some time because my used bookstore had it. So the last gifts that I got were the first two books, The Fifth Season and The Obelisk Gate. I assume most people have heard of this. N.K. Jemisin is very, very popular. And these are ones I've heard pretty mixed things about too, so I am very interested. It's really unfortunate that book 3 that I got is a different size than the other two, so I'm just really unlucky. Even though it's the same publisher, I think it's just a different edition. But these are ones I definitely look forward to trying just because I've heard so much about this series, and I've not actually read it yet, so it'll be interesting to see. The last, a couple more, one random, one big, one a little bit different. I'm trying to mix it up here. We have Illumination by Terry McGarry. Now this is 100% a random book that I picked up, and I'm just going to read the back because I don't know a lot about this, but to give you an idea of what Illumination is about. So we have, after a lifetime of training, Lyeth, same name, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong there, as somebody in Crown of Stars, so already I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Lyeth was proud to have passed her final challenge and become a true mage, ready to journey to the land of Iden Mir and find a triad to bond with as an illuminator. But the very night of her triumph, her light fails her. She can no longer see the magical illumination guiders, and thus, despite the mage's badge upon her breast, can no longer call herself Illuminator. Refusing to accept a lightless future, Lyeth travels to the city and petitions the senior mages of the land for help and a cure. They set a task for her to fulfill. She must find and capture the rogue dark mage and bring him to them for justice. Only then will her light be freed. So begins the most important journey of Lyeth's life. So, I thought it sounded interesting. The guy's name, Terry McGarry, is funny to me, and I'm sure you can't see it, but on the front it says, a wonderful new voice and a different vision, Robert Jordan. Sold. Robert Jordan likes it. I'm going to probably try to read it. So that was the other thing that made me take a look. Seems interesting, light-based magic to an extent. So I thought I would give that one a shot here. Then the other big one is Poppy War, which was one of the few books that I have bought new. I think I have a Barnes & Noble gift card, so I'll probably end up buying at least one more book, depending on which book it is. But Poppy War is another one I've heard just glowing things about this book on R.F. Kuang, so really excited to get to this one. I try to make sure I buy these newer things here and there that I'm really unlikely to see at the used bookstore because people aren't selling them. That's why, hey, I got lucky with Abercrombie. But this is one I've heard a ton about that is kind of taking place in the real world in a way, but with magic. So familiar scene with a really different inspiration than most. And then a book that I happen to randomly see the used bookstore a lot, but also one I don't think I've ever read, and if I have, it's been so long that I don't recall, but The Once and Future King by T.H. White. And this is a super classic Arthurian legend telling, and one that I used to read a lot of Arthurian legend type books when I was very, very young before I got full on into fantasy, because I still enjoyed that then. But this is, it says, the world's greatest fantasy classic. I don't think that's necessarily true, considering, things like Lord of the Rings exist. But a classic, very well-known book. And I was pretty excited to see this one. So I haven't done anything Arthurian in quite some time, because I've done a lot of different fantasy, and I just try new and different things. But this will be one when I get to it, it'll be really interesting and maybe remind me of when I used to read a lot more things like this. So I thought that was pretty cool to find, and I was excited to start that as well. So that is every book that I either bought or received as a gift in November and December. So not a huge amount of books, but actually, it's for 2 months. It's still probably more than normal, since some of them were gifts. But really excited to get to a lot of these, and specifically because I mentioned Faithful and Fallen being a series that I'm very much looking forward to starting in 2021. I wanted to note that I do now finally have those. The main thing missing now is Mark Lawrence and Priory of the Orange Tree are the two things that I need to still get some more books for in order to read those. But here is the book haul. Let me know what you thought of my first book haul video. If you do want to see more of these, or if you don't care. It's one of those things that I know a lot of booktubers do, and I just hadn't done, so I thought I would try it out. But if you enjoy my content, look forward to someday seeing reviews for all of these lovely books. Make sure that you subscribe down below, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to give it a like.